Hello and welcome to an explanation of the new Ofsted inspection framework, specially designed for school governors working with Chester DBE schools. The presentation is designed to give you a flexible approach to using this information. You can either choose to run it as a complete presentation, maybe in governors' meetings, or it can be used just to access the section which you feel is most relevant that you need to find information out about. As you can see from the information on this slide, the situation for Ofsted has changed quite considerably in terms of how they go about inspecting schools. The full graded inspection regime started back up again from the 1st of December. There are no ungraded inspections anymore. All schools now get full graded inspection. Usually this consists of 2 days worth of inspection with 2 inspectors. Obviously, if schools are larger, this may well change. There will be a larger team in place for the duration of it. Grades are also given for each area of inspection. There is no overall grade given for schools anymore. We're hoping that Ofsted are sticking to the expectation that schools will be inspected approximately every 4 academic years against this new framework. The only time this won't happen is when schools convert to become academies, or they are form that requires improvement or inadequate schools. Those timescales in those cases may well be shorter. In terms of the pre-inspection discussion, this now takes on far higher prominence than in previous frameworks. It'll be a key element of the inspection. Deep dives no longer exist. Inspection activity will be dictated by the key areas for inspection discussed between the lead inspector and the school leadership team. The school leadership team is strongly advised to have a script in place so that you can help to lead the discussion as well. In terms of safeguarding, this is simply a met or not met judgment. There are no further grades. As can be seen from this slide, the areas which are inspected under the new framework have also changed considerably. There are now at least 9 key areas to be inspected, with the addition of early years or sixth form if that's relevant. Those areas are shown below: curriculum, developing teaching, leadership and governance, behaviour and attitude, attendance, personal development and well-being, achievements, inclusion and safeguarding. It's important to understand exactly what these 9 areas cover. In terms of curriculum is a full evaluation of the design and implementation of the school's curriculum. They're looking closely at what the school's curriculum offer is. What is it that the school does which is unique? What is it that it does in order to make sure it meets the requirements of the national curriculum? In terms of developing teaching, this is very much focusing on what the school leadership team does to develop quality of teaching. It's not about individual teachers' quality, it's the practices which are put in place to ensure best practice is shared and built upon to bring up the standards of all teaching staff and other staff within the school. In terms of leadership and governance, this is looking very much at the impact, the effectiveness of leadership and governance in its widest sense. And it's looking very much at management structures among that as well. In terms of behaviour and attitudes, it's the new combined area now which looks at aspects of behaviour both within and outside the classroom and what the impact is of this on learning. In terms of attitude, they're looking at how the school develops positive attitudes to learning and to school life. How is it that it makes the school an attractive and irresistible place to be for the children who are there? In terms of attendance, this very much focuses on what are the strategies that the school uses to improve or to sustain high levels of attendance, which are especially important for vulnerable groups. We'll deal with that in more detail later on. In terms of personal development, this has been combined with well-being. It's about the wider curriculum offer, including extracurricular activities, and why these have been chosen for the particular school context. Wellbeing focuses really clearly on what support strategies the school offers for pupils, families, and for its own staff as well. In terms of achievement, this area focuses on the high quality education offer, which is there for all groups, especially those facing barriers, such as those children with special educational needs, those from disadvantaged backgrounds, those with previous involvement in social services, or current for that matter. It includes progression and attainment measures to try and judge this. In terms of inclusion, this looks very much at how that support is provided, very clearly focused on the needs of those groups that we just mentioned. But there may also be others that the school has identified as requiring particular needs. So it might be focused on, for example, somebody with temporary medical needs or with family issues. And that's very much that the school has to take the lead in that to show how they've identified those groups within their school and why they're judged to be requiring extra support in times of vulnerability. And finally, safeguarding. This means that the school has to meet a certain required standard for pupil safeguarding and for welfare. In addition to this, for schools with early years settings or with sixth forms, those two additional categories are included, potentially bringing up a total of 10 areas to be assessed. The idea, as far as Ofsted is concerned, is that it provides a comprehensive approach which gives you an overall holistic view of a school's performance, which goes well beyond the limits of a single overarching grade. As part of the new inspection process, report cards will judge schools on the areas for inspection. The idea is that they're designed to give a graded standard of the school's performance in more nuanced areas than previously. A grade is given for each area of achievement, plus a narrative description of the inspection team's findings as well. Early years and sixth forms will obviously also have their own categories within that. Ofsted say this represents the component parts of great education provision and provide the nuance that parents and professionals want. In theory, this also allows inspectors to highlight poor practice with more precision, looking at the idea of being very, very specific about issues that need to be developed, not just giving overall bland commentary. And as mentioned previously, each of those evaluation areas will have a drop-down box that contains narrative about the findings. A significant change is how schools are graded under the new inspection system. There are 5 grades now implemented. Urgent improvement, which is colour-coded on the report card in red, means that a school needs urgent action to provide a suitable standard of education for children and learners. Don't forget this will be within individual areas. Needs attention, which is coloured amber. Some aspects of the school's provision are inconsistent within this area. It might be limited in scope or its impact, or not quite fully meeting legal requirements or non-statutory guidance expectations. But the key within this is the inspection team feel that the leaders have got the capacity to make the necessary improvements. The expected standard is shown in light green. This shows that the school is offering a secure standard of education by meeting that standard. Strong standard is highlighted in a darker green. Practice is showing consistently secure evidence across different year groups and subjects, and that leaders are working above and beyond what's expected. And finally, the exceptional grade, which is shown in dark green. All evaluations are graded at least secure, and in an area that's consistently strong, there is a feature of practice that could be considered as exemplary. However, Ofsted has stated that the middle 3 grades, i.e. needs attention, expected standard and strong standard, will typically capture where most providers will sit across the range of evaluation areas. A key document the schools need to be aware of with regard to what the criteria are that schools are inspected again is the School Inspection Toolkit. This sets out the criteria schools are assessed against. The first part shows the criteria for the 3 core grades, i.e. needs attention, expected standard and strong standard, with following pages showing the extreme grades, urgent improvement and exceptional. This slide shows a screenshot that exemplifies what this looks like in practice for the curriculum and teaching strand. You can see on one page that the 3 middle grades are shown very clearly. And on the following pages, urgent improvement and exceptional are shown now, with those key bullet points showing what schools have to do in order to be graded within these areas, or what they may not have done. In terms of what the new report card will actually look like, the sample on the left, which applies to any provider, whether it's a school or further education provider, shows that there will be a combined approach. There's the 5-point scale and a narrative explanation, as we briefly touched on earlier. If you look to the left of this particular slide, you can see that there is a color-coded summary of how many inspection areas have met each different grade. Below that, you'll be able to then click on each judgment area to see several paragraphs of narrative verdict. So it's far more intuitive, user-friendly, can also be used on mobile phones as well. The report cards will also show contextual information about the school at the point of the inspection, such as whether its pupil numbers or prevalence of SEND and deprivation are above or below the national average. With a particular focus on the exceptional grade, it's important that schools understand the fact that this is not comparable to outstanding under the old inspection framework. It's a much more challenging and exacting standard that has to be met. It's the very, very best practice. It's graded in the same way that evidence is collected for other grades. Key points for consideration include how the school's work is embedded and sustained over time, whether it's making a tangible difference to children's learning and is worthy of being shared with others to support system improvement. It's possible that any school with exceptional may have the work published on the Ofsted Academy website as well. From this, it should be seen very clearly that this is a step up in terms of expectation from what previously existed. In terms of the urgent improvement grade, the definition for schools that fall into these categories is set out in law. Schools that generally have got widespread difficult issues are categorised as special measures. Schools with more specific issues, which may still be serious, were classified as serious weaknesses. However, this lesser category is going to be renamed to require significant improvement. Schools will actually be shown to need significant improvement if they get a red urgent improvement rating or safeguarding not met in any area but not in leadership, or they get a red rating for leadership but no other red grades and are meeting safeguarding requirements. Schools will be deemed to be in special measures if they've got a red rating in leadership and at least one other area or safeguarding isn't met. The flowchart on the right hopefully gives more information about how these decisions are made. Much discussion has taken place around the new categorisations in terms of schools which don't meet the required standard. In terms of how the monitoring system works for these schools, all schools that are graded urgent improvement or have any area graded attention needed, i.e. the amber banding, will get a monitoring inspection within 18 months. If this is the case for your school, that you receive an amber grade attention needed in any area, these monitoring visits will only focus on those areas that receive that grading. And if schools at that inspection show significant signs of improvement, the area will be upgraded to secure. Monitoring is proposed to be continuing until all areas are therefore secure. This should mean that schools with a lower rating don't have to wait years for another inspection to show that they've improved. For schools that are deemed to require significant improvement, they will receive an intensive 5 monitoring inspections within 18 months. Schools in special measures will get 6 monitoring inspections within 24 months. General guidance. Ofsted have come up with some key points which are indicators of schools which are effective in long-term improvement strategies. So this may be a good set of guidelines, if you like, for schools which find themselves on the receiving end of a grade lower than they would have liked. The first slide shows the first 4 areas which they say show are clear indicators of improvement. The school's curriculum is ambitious, well sequenced, broad and balanced. Any variation between subjects is outweighed by leaders' work to secure high quality learning in most curriculum areas, i.e. they're not expecting perfection. There is strong provision for phonics and for reading, effective support for pupils who have fallen behind. So it's about those strategies used to ensure that pupils have the ability to catch up as quickly as possible. High quality provision ensures good outcomes for pupils with SEND. Again, there's that clear focus on those groups of children which may be deemed vulnerable. High expectations for behaviour and attendance help for those that need it. This really clearly focuses on what the school is doing to make a difference, what it does to encourage children to actually be in school, what it does to encourage good behaviour in and out of the classroom, how it works with families. Continuing this theme, leaders place importance on developing personal, social, and spiritual well-being. There's a broadening of pupils' skills and perspectives. The opportunities provide benefit for all pupils. In other words, no pupils are excluded due to economic or particular needs. Everyone is given the opportunity to take part. There is effective challenge and support from governors. There is a shared and ambitious vision. We'll elaborate on this later on in this presentation. There is clarity of direction. It cannot be spoken any clearer, if you like, how important this might be. Leaders in the widest sense have got an accurate understanding of the school's strengths and weaknesses and know what to do as a result. Staff feel supported to develop the subject knowledge through high quality and motivational professional development. Hopefully this is tailor-made to take account of individual strengths and areas for development as well.